And we're back. Welcome to No Direction Beyond, episode 6, where we talk about the soldier. We are, of course, your Starfinder news, reviews, and interviews podcast. And I'm Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param.
Wait a minute. This is Alexander Agunas, the Everyman Gamer, who's completely befuddled. We've done 6 of these already?
Yes, this is the 6th one, and we're joined by...
I'm James. I write CoSwitch, and I remember the episode numbers.
Oh.
Yes.
Have we really done 6 of these? It doesn't feel like 6.
This is the 6th one, man. I've been keeping careful count, and a lot of work involved in making these turn into episodes.
Okay, so wait, we did the Corvo book review.
Right.
We did the one with Jason where we and Jason and Robert where we did Aliens.
Yes.
We did Alien Archive.
Yes.
We did this one, that's number 6, and we did the one with the starships. Which one am I missing then? That's 5.
I have no idea which one you're missing.
Don't put me on the spot about that. I'm going to be real embarrassed.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Somebody in chat, tell me which one I'm forgetting.
Well, considering this is a sneak attack episode, I don't know if we're going to have a very lively chat. But for those of you who are joining,
9.
for those of you who are joining us in chat, welcome to No Direction Beyond. We'll be answering any questions you happen to have, and you have a pretty good odds of getting them answered currently right now, because this was a very sneak attack surprise episode. So
We
please,
have 10 people.
10 people. 10.
We've done a lot worse than 10 people before.
No, we've really never done worse than 10 people before.
And only 5 of them are bots.
When we did Private Sanctuary, we've had a lot worse than 10 people before.
Oh, yes.
Oh gosh, no! James said the word bot and then dropped to 7. They were found out and they laughed. No.
No.
I mean, that was conscientious of them.
But we always film No Directions in front of a live Twitch audience. So if you have any questions, please pop them off in chat, and we will get to them throughout the episode. Now today's
episode?
Huh?
What's today's episode about?
Today we are beginning our class feature series, starting with the one we all agreed we hated the least. Actually, we kind of like it a lot. The soldier.
I mean, technically that statement is true both ways. We both liked it the most and hated it the least simultaneously.
Yes.
We're pretty awesome like that. We're capable of a spectrum of emotions on this line.
Yeah, and
And they're confusing.
Yeah, there were also several classes that we both loved and hated in equal measures.
Yes, because we are diverse people with our own preferences and ways to enjoy the game. Imagine that. I can't wait for the two of you to fight on the one. It's going to be great. I'm just going to sit back with popcorn and watch you two go at it.
I'm kind of disheartened that I'm the only one who likes the mechanic.
I like the mechanic too.
We get to team up. Oh man, I'm going to be the bad guy on that one.
I didn't say the mechanic was strong. I just said I like it.
Well,
but
I mean,
this is a class that is both strong and we like it. The soldier. Alex, tell us why we like the soldier.
Because it's the fighter done to perfection. It's so lovely. Like you just sit back and you're like, oh wow, there are so many feats I would like. Soldier, oh you're so great. Look at all of these feats. Oh, it'd be really great if I got some of these feats, but they were better than normal. Why fighting style? Hello there. And then you have just so much great stuff. It's a really short, simple, but really deep class.
It is, and I knew every single word that was going to appear on the soldier class write-up without ever reading it, because it was basically, if you've listened to No Direction's recorded seminars, throughout the years, Paizo employees like to complain about the fighter class and what they would do to make it better. If you took all those talks together, then added laser guns, you get the soldier.
It's accurate. It's very accurate.
So let's go down the soldier's spine real quick before we start talking about him.
James, do it. Go.
Oh boy, I'm illiterate for about 3 seconds. Sorry.
Okay.
You gotta show off. You gotta tell all the people all the red stuff on the great fancy soldier page that has. Oh gosh, Param, how do you pronounce her name? The iconic soldier.
I don't know.
It's crazy. It's hard. Umbongya? I don't know. I give up. I'm done. If anyone from Paizo is in chat, or somebody who's talked to somebody from Paizo and knows how to pronounce it, please share.
I think it's Obodazaya.
I like that pronunciation, James.
Yeah, so James is like the pronunciation guy on this show, by the way. I have like a racial penalty of -10 on everything involving pronunciation.
So let's go down the soldier's spine. And I prepped for this, so I'm not going to put James on the spot.
I always put James on the spot.
Okay, so soldiers have 7 hit points per level. They also have 7 plus constitution stamina per level, which is a lot for Starfinder. It's the best. Their key ability score is strength or dexterity, your choice, but you have to choose when you start and keep it. They have class skills acrobatics, athletics, engineering, intimidate, medicine, piloting, profession, and survival. And they get 4 plus int intelligent modifier. They're proficient with light and heavy armor, basic advanced melee, small arms, long arms, heavy arms, sniper arms, grenade arms, and 5 different types of individual insectoid arms.
I'm pretty sure half of those arms don't exist. Hey, but so fun point talking about hit points. If you compare the soldier to like a class in Pathfinder, the maximum amount of hit points that any class in Pathfinder could get is a 12 on a D12, 12 plus con, like assuming that you get to roll. The soldier has 7 hit points start and 7 stamina points, and since those basically make a shallow and a deep end of the same pool, you're starting with 14 plus your constitution. It is a lot of hit points. You could take a punch and then probably a second punch and maybe even 2 additional punches after that. You could take a kasatha of punches.
Oh.
But don't advertise it, because that's when they crit you.
Yeah, that's true. We've had that happen a lot. So
to finish up the spine.
The spine is done. You've read literally the entire spine.
No, they have full
There's more
BAB.
vertebrae on this.
They have full BAB and good fort and will save.
Well, what if you have somebody who has never actually played an RPG before? They don't know what full BAB means, Param. Come on.
Okay.
Why are they listening to this show at episode 6?
A full BAB progression means that they get a bonus to their base attack bonus every single level.
It means your base attack bonus is equal to your level. And if you have a good fortitude and a will, that means that your bonus is equal to 2 plus half your level. And if you have a poor saving throw, like with the soldier's reflex saves, your saving throw is equal to 1/3 your level.
Mm-hmm. Basically, you'll never pass those poor ones. And sorry, James.
No, you're good. I just want to talk. I'm really a fan of the will save bonus to the soldier, because it kind of replaces why the fighter was, at least one of the reasons why I didn't find it as fun, is you're this big, muscular, beefy, skilled, trained combat guy, and suddenly somebody waves their fingers at you and you turn tail. That just seems inherently wrong to what that felt like. And Starfinder the soldier makes it feel like, yeah, I might still be scared away by things, but I'm at least going to try to fight through it.
Yes. You were way more disciplined.
I was a bit confused to see the goodwill save on the soldier, to be honest with you. Now, I would have supported a fearless trait to let him use his fortitude save for fear saves, for instance. Something similar to that, because that is... But it's weird that your traditional boots-on-the-ground grunt is going to be really good at resisting mind control.
Is he though? Wisdom isn't one of your priority abilities. Wisdom doesn't do much for you. As a soldier, you don't have any wisdom class skills except for profession. They don't get perception as a class skill still. And on top of that, the class makes it pretty clear that you're going to want physical abilities. I think the assumption is you're probably not going to have more than a 12 or 14 to start, and you can probably keep pumping it up. But your will save is acceptable, not good.
Right.
Well,
I think it's reflective of somebody who gets into fights and is okay with that.
But the only other class that's going to have a good will save is going to be the Mystic. It's going to theoretically have conceptually better will save than the Soldier, because Starfinder discourages too much stat distribution that isn't in your primary stats, and it also does not. And also having a good base, a good will save base, is only going to be 2 to 4 points away from the best possible base in Starfinder without taking feats to pump it.
So I don't want to sit here and argue about something that doesn't matter, but I'm going to
This
have
is
two counter.
Oh, here comes Alex.
I have two counterpoints. Counterpoint number one: pretty much every major movie, like James is talking about, has the soldier be the guy with like grim determination who just pushes through. Think of things like Saving Private Ryan, where the amount of just discipline is staggering. And the amount of drilling is just staggering. Like, I feel like if you're going to put the soldier up against, like, the operative who's out for himself or the envoy who's good at talking but not necessarily wise, I think it makes sense that the soldier is more likely to stay against a fear spell than those two. Second, Starfinder is about simplifying mechanics. And to me, it doesn't make sense to have an ability that does something complicated like use this save for a completely different thing in a niche circumstance. That sounds more like a theoretical advanced player's guide for Starfinder. You know, like that doesn't sound like something that a core class should have.
Sounds like an Oracle revelation.
It sounds like something that's probably going to end up being overpowered, like most of those oracles up there.
Oh, no. On a side note, on the will saves, there is only one class with a poor will save in Starfinder,
That's true.
and it's the one we bashed on already. The
Mechanic.
Which-
Go run in a ditch, mechanic.
No, that's what the robot's for. To program away the fear.
No, the robot runs away first because the robot actually is decent. The mechanic, no. But anyway, so let's talk about like the things that actually make the fighter class, which is your class features.
Soldier.
In
Soldier
Starfinder,
class.
for what?
You said fighter.
Yes. Fighter, soldier. I'm going to use those interchangeably. This is the Starfinder fighter. So the soldier has a class feature at every level. Every class in Starfinder does, which makes for a nice, satisfying to look at table. The soldier revolves around three basic mechanics that you get while you're leveling up. You have fighting styles, you have combat feats, you have gear boost. There are a couple other class features sprinkled in, but compared to every other class in Starfinder, the soldier is probably the most straightforward. Would you guys agree with me on that?
It really is.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
your fighting style is like, when combat breaks out, what's your primary tactic? How are you going to handle this combat? You pick your favorite tactic at first level, and you get good with it. Basically, at any level that would have had a weapon training and first level, and back in Pathfinder, is when you get one of these cool style abilities. It's a good way to think of it. Instead of picking like a group or whatever, you're getting this cool power. So you get one at first level, you get one at fifth, and then every 4 levels afterwards, you're going to get another one.
Yeah.
And just in case that wasn't enough, at 9th level, you pick a secondary style. And for your secondary style, your soldier level is equal to your actual level minus 8. So you start at first level when you get this new one, and you have to build back up for the second one. So your second one is never as good as your primary. So it takes a little bit of tactical choice and thinking to decide what abilities you want and which ones are really key to how your character is going to play, because your secondary one is never going to be as strong. It's only ever going to back you up a little bit.
Yeah. Or you could do it thematically, like how Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson did in Shanghai Noon, where at the end he knew how to throw a karate chop, and Jackie Chan knew how to shoot a gun.
Yeah, exactly. So, but clearly they went from like 3rd level to 9th level in that movie.
I mean, Wet Silk is unbreakable.
Yeah. So, in addition to the cool fighting style choices, you get combat feats. I like how they call them combat feat instead of bonus feat in Pathfinder, because bonus feat is a little misleading. It sounds like it could be anything. Combat feat makes it clear that you get a bonus feat that has to be a combat feat. And like the fighter in Pathfinder, the Starfinder soldier, starting at, I believe, 4th level, when they get their second bonus feat, they can actually start switching them up. So that's a difference from the soldier compared to the Pathfinder fighter. The Pathfinder fighter gets a bonus feat at first level. The soldier doesn't. They get the fighting style and the style technique instead of that. So as a result, the soldier only has 20 feats by 20th level instead of 21 like a fighter. Oh no. The fighting styles are really good. Most of their first level benefits are better than a core feat.
Yeah.
And you don't need to take point blank.
Yep. And you don't have to take precise shot or point blank. There's the real kicker, the winner of Starfinder. Those feats are gone.
And speaking of all the beautiful things you talked about earlier about the combat styles, where you get to
Yeah.
choose which way you're going to attack a different combat, don't worry about that with feats. There are only 34 feats in Starfinder, and you get 20 of them. Plus, you get to pick and choose and change.
Yeah. Also, don't forget that some of those feats are weapon proficiency feats and armor proficiency feats, and
Yeah,
you have
if you
almost
don't-
all of
yeah.
those already.
Yeah.
Also, all characters get weapon specialization for free. So, yeah,
So there goes another one.
you have at third level the soldier gets weapon specialization. They get it in every weapon they're proficient with, which is all of them except special weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So just take those feats and like roll around in them a little bit. It's
Get psychic powers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to get your third set of extra resolve, and that's when you're just going to be golden.
Yeah, you're just great. It's why like people are complaining about like the new psychic archetype that James was talking about, and like to me that archetype is made for the soldier because oh no, I lose like a couple bonus feats for crazy psychic powers. What am I gonna do with these crazy psychic powers that I wouldn't normally get or wouldn't want to spend feats on? I don't know. I think it's a viable build. It might not be the most combat intensive, but it's sure as heck cool.
It's really hard to build a bad soldier, though.
It is. And one of the things that make that true is the class feature that basically replaces armor training.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a billion times better than armor training.
Yes,
it's called gear boost. So at third level and every 4 levels there afterwards, you get a gear boost. I like to think that gear boosts are inspired by the advanced weapon trainings and advanced armor trainings. But regardless, basically how it works is that you pick an ability that interacts with a specific type of either weapon or like armor or gear in general, and you get this cool power. You could pick something like Armored Advantage, where when you're wearing armor, which is a type of gear, you get an extra bonus to your AC. And one thing that we've talked about before on this show, and that the designers have talked about when we've had them on No Direction, is that bonuses to attack rolls and to armor class in Starfinder are extremely rare. In fact, I don't know that any other class gets an insight bonus to armor class aside from the soldier. So if you want to be hard to hit, the soldier can be hard to hit. The soldier can also have the highest attack bonus with a laser if they take laser accuracy for an insight bonus on attack rolls with laser weapons. They can have the best melee damage in the game if they take melee striker. They get to add an extra half of their strength bonus to damage roll with melee weapons. The gear boosts are specialized, but they are powerful. And I would expect as more Starfinder products come out and the more Gear Boost are added to the game, that Gear Boost is going to be a very desirable, very strong class feature.
One of my favorite combos for using the Gear Boost doesn't even give a big bonus to stats. I like to take a nice shotgun, put cryo on it, and then use flash freeze to reduce the speed of everything in front of me.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's nasty.
I always thought that a really fun one was Electric Arc, because it basically turns all of your electricity damage weapons into cleave. Like, it's great. There are not many of them, but the ones that are there are mighty. Like, hey, guess what? My grenades explode 5 feet wider than everybody else. I'm just better than you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lower your DR because so many bullets.
Yeah.
All the bullets.
So there are only 3 real class features left. We've talked about the primary fighting style, the secondary fighting style, the primary and secondary fighting techniques, and the gear boost. So we've mentioned it briefly, but the soldier gets weapon specialization with pretty much every weapon in the game except special weapons at 3rd level. So that's similar for all Starfinder classes. They pretty much all get that at 3rd level. At 11th level, the Soldier and the Solarian get an Onslaught ability. The Soldier's is called Soldier Onslaught. The Solarian is called Solarian's Onslaught. For both of them, when they make a full attack, they can increase the penalty that they take from -4 to -6 in order to make another attack. So the Soldier and the Solarian can make more attacks than anybody else in the game on a full attack. Very helpful if you want to murder people. I imagine that it's going to be hard to hit because, like we had previously talked about, penalties are not as heavily offset by bonuses as they are in Pathfinder, meaning that there are fewer ways to get bonuses on attack rolls. I have an interrupted guest. Anyway, bye. Anyway, because for taking, I'm sorry, my train is completely thrown off.
Okay.
Regardless, because you take that additional -2 penalty on attack rolls, you get to make another attack on top of it. You have a better chance to hit. Nat 20s always hit. However, that comes with the downside that you're less likely to have bonuses to make up for that additional penalty. So it's definitely a choice in Starfinder. It's not something you have to do. The final ability is the capstone. James, this is like the hypest ability the soldier has. Please tell us about the capstone.
Kill shot. You can take one shot and just try to murder them. It's like the assassin ability. It's so cool. So as a standard action, you make a single attack. If your attack hits and your enemy's somehow still alive, which is kind of likely, you can you can put a resolve point into the attack to force this creature to succeed at a fortitude save or just die, like a coup de grace.
Yeah.
They only get one shot at it, but it's nasty.
Yeah, it's nasty. Nat ones always fail. The downside is that if they pass their save, or even if they fail their save and get like Breath of Life later, you can only try to kill shot any one creature once every 24 hours. However, at 20th level, you probably have so many resolve points that you just don't care.
I'm just sort of imagining the soldier that just sort of has that on his wrist comm as like a constantly going iPhone timer. It's like 23 seconds, man, you are toast.
He just shows up. Somehow you're not dead. He goes, "I'll see you tomorrow."
Yeah.
Just leaves.
So we covered the basics on how the soldier class works. What we didn't do is we didn't really talk about the meat and bones and tactical choices of the soldier, which is primarily your fighting styles.
Yeah.
So we should probably talk about those. Who would like to start? You should probably pick one of your favorites to go first. Come on.
Well, I'll pick my favorite.
Okay.
Which is not alphabetical, which is...
That's fine.
But my personal favorite... hey, can we go ahead and start mixing in our favorite soldiers now? As we talk about how they not fit these fighting styles?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Just don't you dare steal my build from last week.
I don't know what your build was from last week.
You didn't read my article? How are you going to know all the stories that James and I tell once we start Dead Sons if you don't read my character articles?
I usually do, but you know what happened last week.
I'm going to kill your poor little boy soldier.
No, don't kill my poor little boy soldier. Actually, no. Yes, actually kill my little boy soldier, because that perfectly fits his character concept.
My guys! We've got to avoid potential spoilers here.
No spoilers. I was just talking about murdering children that Alex plays.
All right, so my favorite of this bunch is the Blitz fighting style, because I wanted one of my we each decided to pick a bunch of iconic soldiers types from media and stuff. So I was like, a favorite soldier is the first person shooter soldier type, and more specifically Master Chief. And you would think this would be like heavily armored or sharpshooter. No. They're stupid fast is how they work. So I like the Blitz fighting style. You start off with rapid response, which gives you +4 to initiative checks and increases your land speed by 10 feet. And this is your Quake running like crazy, plus the fact that Twitch shooting is king in first person shooters. So he who shoots first shoots last. Then you got charge attack, which allows you to ignore the penalties while charging. And if you have onslaught, you can also make multiple attacks during a charge. Now, again, this doesn't go a lot to the shooting aspect of it, but everybody also knows that a good part of first-person shooting playing is hitting people with your knife and backstabbing them at every possible opportunity. And to do that successfully, you got to move quick and get up on them. Then they've got Keep Fighting as a move action. You can spend 1 resolve point to regain stamina equal to 2d6 plus your soldier level. This is your regenerating health. You take a breather behind the boxes to get your health back. Then you've got Perfect Opportunity. Is when you hit a creature with an attack of opportunity, that creature cannot move. You threaten squares until the start of your next turn, and when they take a guarded step out of the square, you can make an attack of opportunity. This is because you is owning them, and you're trash talking them on voice, and they're too scared to move after you just jump them. Then finally, you've got Against the Odd, the 17th level one, where you gain a bonus to melee damage rolls equal to double the number of enemies within 10 feet of you that constitute a threat. And this is just when you've decided to just go completely God mode, jump right in the middle of the enemy team and show them that none of those have a KDR to stand up against yours.
You jerk! You totally stole my soldier's fighting style.
I just ran through the Blitz fighting style.
Yeah, that's his fighting style.
Oh.
What's your secondary, goodness?
Well, my secondary is hit and run, but that's not the one I want to talk about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want to reread Blitz again?
No, I'm gonna talk about Bombard. Bombard is awesome.
Bombard is awesome.
Everybody talks about Blitz because Blitz is an amazing first level grab for the soldier. You get a 10-foot bonus to your movement speed and a +4 bonus on initiative checks. It's the same as getting fleet and improved initiative at first level, and they stack with those feats. So like, Blitz is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Bombard is just hilarious. I love Bombard because like even part of it doesn't even entirely make complete sense to me, but like the nonsensicalness of it is amazing. So the first ability you get is called Grenade Expert, where whenever you throw a grenade, you take your strength bonus, you multiply it by 5, and you add that to the distance that you can throw your grenades. So like grenades normally have a very small throwing range. I think it's like only like 20 feet or something like that.
20 feet, yeah.
Yeah. And so with this, like, you know, even if you just make strength like a secondary, not a primary ability score, you go in with like, I don't know, a 14, you're getting an extra 10 feet. You're at 30 feet. And then at third level, you could take that gear boost and get an extra 5 feet for 35. And then when you put your fourth level +2 strength level increase on Bombard into strength, then you go to a great 40-foot grenade chucking range. And in addition, the first level Bombard can just salvage grenades. Like, they don't actually need to buy them. Like, just in 10 minutes, they can think, oh, I'm going to jury rig this grenade, go. And it doesn't work for anybody else either. It's great. I don't know if that could be interpreted to mean that you can't use pull the pin on it. Pull the pin is this feat where, like, if you disarm a grenade, the grenade explodes. But if you're disarming the grenade, isn't that, like, if you're making it explode, are you using it? Like, can you disarm someone's jury-rigged grenade if you don't know how it works? I think that's something that should be FAQ'd, but in my interpretation, the answer is no. You don't know how that weird piece of metal works. You can't.
No, unless it's to my benefit.
But, so, like, in addition to the weird stuff they get, as a full action, they can the soldier can make use a full action to make one attack with a ranged weapon. Doesn't matter which weapon. That gets bonus damage equal to their strength. And so that's like, oh man, I don't want to do that with my sniper rifle, or not my sniper rifle. I don't want to do that with my rifle like that. I want a full attack with that, or I want to be able to move and shoot. That's bad. But like, you can actually do this with like grenades, and you could do it with like grenade launchers, and you can do it with any weapon that has the unwieldy special property, meaning it already takes a full action to attack with that weapon. So you can do it with sniper rifles, and you can add your strength as just bonus damage to these attacks that have no right having your strength on them because they're ranged. And you're just like, I'm so strong, look at my muscles. And he drops, and it's great.
Well, that's the only explanation for the smoothbore cannon anyway.
Well, yeah, it's great. Also, for additional ridiculous things you can do to people with your strength, whenever you hit someone with a ranged attack or a weapon with the blast or explode abilities, again, sniper rifles work really well here. You get the debilitating attack at 9th level that lets you blow a point of resolve in order to either deafen, knock the target flat-foot, or knock them off target, or cut their speed in half for a number of rounds equal to your strength modifier. And it works. It works if you do it with grenades. So you could be like, okay, my grenade has a range of like 40 feet. I'm gonna chuck my grenade 40 feet. It's gonna blow up and hit them all. I'm gonna spend a resolve. Now all of their movement speeds are reduced by halved, and enjoy coming over my ally's death field to come and try to get me back for this amazing grenade that I threw. At 13th level, the DC against your grenades and all explosion abilities goes up by 1. And if someone tries to blow you up, you reduce the amount of damage you take by your strength modifier again. And finally, at 17th level, you use your explode and your grenades and stuff, your cool blasty abilities, to just knock people away from you. They go flying backwards like in Fallout. Like, the Bombard style is just like, it's weird mechanically, but I love it. Like, it's so funny.
It feels so Junkrat from Overwatch.
Yeah, it does. It feels like Junkrat. It feels like Wastelandy. It's so cool. It's such a good one. And kudos to Paizo for making a ranged character build that wants strength.
Yeah, and I mean, that's especially weird because with the grenades, your DC for them is based off your own dex modifier.
Yeah.
So to incentivize you to pump up another stat and not just be this weird grenade thrower that does nothing else and can't lift more than 3 grenades is really neat.
Yeah. So, hey, you should tell us about anything else you think is neat with these fighting styles.
I mean, I think Armor Storm is pretty cool because that reminds me of like the Hunters from Halo, or you can also get a little more anime on it, like the suits from Bubblegum Crisis, where it's just like my armor is my weapon. They start off with having the ability to do melee attacks as per a hammer fist, or the battle gloves, that's what they're called. But they do more damage, and you also get counted as having the melee striker gear boost. And if you already have it, it stacks again. So even if you're not really meant to be super good with melee, suddenly you are because you are attached to 55 tons of metal.
It doesn't quite stack. You get an extra +2 if you have them both. But that's still really good because nothing gives a bonus that high, and the bonus is untyped.
Right. It stacks. It does not stack in that way. Stacking's a weird word.
Listen, we don't want our viewers to go to their GMs and say, James from Code Switch said they stack. Give me double strength now.
If any of your players ever do that and you GM a game, kick them out of the game. They're going to be more trouble than they're worth. So at 5th level, they also get the ability to get powered armor. And there's not a lot of those suits yet, but I think they probably will be expanded upon. But there's enough that if you kind of ignore the art that's in there, you can get a pretty good flair for things like the Master Chief suit and all that. You also get more slots for that armor. You're just better in that armor. Later on, they get to bowl over you because they're wearing a lot of heavy armor, and they do more damage with melee attacks there. Well, if they do maneuvers off of them. And they just get better and better with armor. And it's really, really cool to see a character that kind of just does the X-Men Juggernaut thing, where it's just, I'm big, I'm stronger than you, and you're not going to stop me, and neither is that wall that you're going through.
Yes.
Yeah, at 17th level, they get an ability that's just kind of like that. They're as mobile in it as not in it. So, really fun.
So, one thing that you didn't talk about with Armor Storm that makes it really silly and ridiculously cool, in addition to getting power armored at 5th level, you also get better armor from dealers and stuff. So basically, whenever you buy armor as a Armored Storm soldier, your armor has a bonus upgrade slot in addition to what it would normally have. So like if you're an android, suddenly you get 2 bonus slots and you're just the talk of the town. But moreover, if you put that armored slot onto heavy armor instead of powered armor, you can pick an upgrade that is normally powered armor only and put it in that slot on your heavy armor. And any upgrade you put in your bonus slot costs half as much money.
Yeah, it was really good. I wasn't going to go that granular, but yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, no, that ability is crazy, and it totally deserves all the love that we can give it. All of the love. And it's worth noting that works with heavy armor and not just powered armor, because currently powered armor isn't great for the soldier, sadly, especially if you want to go moderately strength focused. The reason is that powered armor gives you a strength score that you have to use while you're wearing it, and if your strength score is higher, well, oh no, you're stuck with it. It's kind of like maximum dex bonus, except it's maximum strength bonus, but also minimum strength bonus. Just use this, apparently. So, like, it works fine and dandy if you're, like, high dex with, like, a meh strength. But if you want to be someone who's strength focused, like, the power armor will actually limit your ability to do strength things. So, hopefully we see some more power armor that has a better strength later on, or maybe, like, a gear boost for powered armor that lets the fighter count the strength is higher or use their strength instead. That'd be really cool for the soldier. I said fighter again. I'm sorry, Param. I know you're twitching.
It's okay. I'm used to twitching when you're talking.
Yeah, but that strength coming from the mobile armor makes it so that you have a better chance of hitting, because you also can implant weapons into some of those attachments on the heavy armor. Oh. And if then you go bombard style as your secondary, suddenly you have all this damage that you didn't pay the ability cost for.
That's true.
That's why.
So we should talk about more of these fighting styles.
I like, related to the previous style, one I like is guard, because it actually puts within the very core rulebook a defensive, protective character option into play. Now, I akin this to the Warhammer's Space Marine. Now, heavy armor and power armor are encouraged
Terminator armor.
here.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, or Terminator armor are encouraged here because you're going to want armor class, and you get armor training at first level, which reduces the check penalty of your armor by 1 and increases the dex bonus by 1 on any armor you're using. You then get guards protection at 5th level. This is where you can actually protect people. You can basically, anytime an adjacent ally is damaged by an attack, you can use a reaction to intercede, and you take half of the damage and they take the other half. This is no effective spells, blah 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 blah. And I view this for the Warhammer Space Marine to help explain why whenever a group of Space Marines is killed, the Space Marines get to choose who that one was.
Nice. I like that one too.
Then you get Rapid Recovery, which lets you spend resolve points to just start tossing off status effects because, of course, you don't care. Then at 13th level, you get a damage resistance that goes up again at 17th level, which is something that's kind of hard to get. And then finally, you get impenetrable defenses at 17th level, which lets you set up a strong defense for your ally. Until the start of your next turn, you gain 3 benefits. Damage reduction of DR/10/nothing, and the chosen ally gets +4 AC.
No, that's
also,
a really
you can
good
take
ship.
all the damage on yourself where that DR10 is.
Yeah. Damage reduction isn't super hard to get in Starfinder. There's one of the upgrades, does it to your skeletal system, but it's expensive. And so the soldier gets it for free if they go that style. I really like... Go ahead, James.
Oh, I said, and in Pathfinder, at 17th, that's when a barbarian's DR is around that, right? Or is that at 4 at that point? Or at 13th?
No, I think it is pretty similar to the barbarians, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good place to have it.
Yes, and then you go to 17th level and you throw that out the window and say, I am the god of damage soaking. Fear me, mortals, for I can take a Tarask to the face and survive. I really like Hit and Run. We were actually talking about it on Discord a bit.
Okay.
So Hit and Run is based around getting into melee, getting out and moving. It's really a good combo with Blitz because Blitz wants to get you into melee fast. Hit and Run wants to give you the choice to be in or be out of it, like what you want. So they get opening volley as a bonus feat. Opening volley is basically if I shoot someone on the first turn of combat, then on the second turn of combat, I get a +2 bonus on melee attack rolls against that target. At 9th level, this fighting style actually improves that so that they can use opening volley on the first or second turn of combat. First and second. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
And then at 5th level, the style improves again. During each turn, when you full attack, you can either take a guarded step or move up to half your speed, and the movement can come before, between, or after your attacks, but can't be split up. So essentially, in Pathfinder, you can take a 5-foot step during a full attack if you want to. That's gone because the 5-foot step is now a guarded step. That's a move action in Starfinder. But this style gives it back to the soldier. So this soldier with Hit and Run is the only character in the game that can 5-foot during a full attack. Or they can just be like, boom, oh man, I killed that guy. I really want to be 30 feet over there. I guess I'll be there. And now I'm there and I'm going to attack the guy. Then at 9th level, you get an ability called Duck and Weave, where you can spend a resolve point whenever you move or make a ranged attack to not provoke an attack of opportunity. So that's actually really strong because, even if you go spring attack, you can't be within 10 feet of the target that you're trying to hit. So you're probably still going to provoke. This ability just lets you throw that away. And you're like, nope, there are only 3 things in Starfinder that provoke: moving, shooting, and spellcasting. I can't cast spells, and now I can spend a resolve to avoid the 2 of them. You're probably never going to provoke attacks of opportunity as Hit and Run if you don't want to. At 13th level, you get Elusive Target. Whenever you move any distance, you get a +1 insight bonus to your armor class. And as we mentioned, insight bonuses to AC in general are rare, so this ability to get an extra insight bonus is great. It would have been nice if this stacked with the armor ability from the gear boost, but if you go hit and run, then you're just not taking that one, clearly. And then your final ability is Harrying Shot, which is essentially, as a full action, you can shoot one guy, and in addition to shooting that guy, you give Harrying Fire against any creature you hit to pretty much all of your allies. You can be like, all right, I'm shooting that guy. All right, ally, you get Harrying Fire, and also that guy has a bullet in his face now. If you use a weapon with the blast ability, or that has the automatic ability, like, you know, a Gatling gun or whatever, then the Harrying Fire ability applies to everything that you hit. So you're just like, hey, wow, my friend, do you want to hit those guys with your cleave? Okay. And then just your machine gun bullets to give everybody bonuses, and it's great. Happy days.
Very happy. I was looking at the Arcane Assailant, which was one that I looked over the first time because to be honest, for some reason it felt like a Cheliax thing, like a Space Thrune or something.
Space Thrune.
Yeah, I don't know why Eldritch made me think of like evil devil people. Maybe I just have devils on the brain. But that whole system goes around making your weapon better and basically giving you free weapon enhancements. And I realize that is really boring on paper because it doesn't give a lot of flat bonuses and you have to look for them. But like once you get into like, you know, 9th or 10th level, your weapons are suddenly way better than everybody else's.
Yeah.
Your first level ability makes your weapons count as DR. You just slap an Eldritch tag on it, a little devil symbol if you want, and they count as overcoming DR magic. Later on, you can give them an additional effect like the other weapon fusions. You can't double up on fusions, but it doesn't count towards your maximum of fusions.
Yep.
And that's you just slap that on because you're great. Later on at 9th level, you can use resolve points to get rid of status conditions because you're a great legendary hero or devil worshipper. At 13th, you can give it another weapon enhancement. You just slap that on there, and your weapon gets even better. And then lastly, the cornerstone of this one, or the whatever that top level is not the most exciting. It's thematically really cool. It's a true shot. You don't miss. I mean, you still have to roll the attack roll, but you see through total concealment, total cover, all that. You strike true. It's an ability that I think wouldn't be cool until it was cool.
Yeah. It's one that just, it doesn't have the numerical shine or like the bonus feat shine, but you're basically Gun Wizard at this point. Like, yeah, because you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go on this adventure where I know I'm going to have to take this guy back alive. You know, that's what my society guy said I have to do. Well, I'm 5th level. I'm going to slap Merciful onto my gun now with my magic rune. Oh, man, I know I'm going to go here. This whole planet has a combustible atmosphere. Maybe I don't want to slap Flaming, but I'll put Frost on instead. Like, it's the level of flexibility it gives you is really strong. And also, it's free. You know, like, free, like, you can't really beat free magic.
Yeah, and there are also ethereals on that list, and it only takes 10 minutes to imbue a weapon with this. Like, it's something that you can theoretically do between fights, depending on how spaced apart they are.
Yes, it is definitely cool. I do think that it's less flashy than the other ones. It's definitely a planning one. Definitely for planning.
It's also one that mostly is statistical bonuses and doesn't give more combat options to you during play.
Well, yeah, and like the options it does give you, you have to pick in advance because it takes 10 minutes to slap that rune on. So, like, it's good, but it's good for the people who like preparation.
The amount of prep is, if you're going to go fight on Eox, if you're 13th level, you're going to put Holy on that.
Yeah, that's
true.
Like,
it doesn't always require a rocket science and an augury spell. Sometimes it's common sense.
Yeah, I agree. I do like that. Go ahead.
I guess that leaves the very last one is Sharpshoot.
Sharpshoot is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sharpshoot is what I probably see most often from soldiers, because you would think that this is the sniper one. James, I want to go into Sharpshoot, but this ties into one of your soldiers.
Does it? Oh, it talks into Alvin York, one of my favorite soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about Alvin York and why he loves the Sharpshoot option.
Oh, well, Alvin York was a good old boy from Tennessee who just got drafted into the war and decided to go fight some Germans. Outnumbered about 7 other injured soldiers there, he managed to capture 132 Germans. They would storm his trench, and he would pick them off, starting from the furthest back. So by the time the ones got up there, they didn't realize they were alone. They did that, I think, 4 times. And it just goes to show the value of marksmanship when fighting an overwhelming force.
So, the fun thing about Sergeant York is that was playing into what was called the American Sharpshooter mythology at the time, where America was really proud that its soldiers were the most accurate soldiers in the world. That's what they would boast, and they would always point to Sergeant York and go, see, we have the most sharp. And that was a reason that they did not want to use the Tommy gun in World War II and automatic rifles during World War II to issue to the infantrymen, and why the M1 Garand was originally issued to our infantrymen during World War II, because the American Sharpshooter myth and the generals didn't want a option in combat of spamming out a lot of bullets that were intentionally not going to hit people as a combat strategy.
The complete opposite of every American engagement after World War II, but before then it was really important to them. Mm-hmm. But go over Sharpshooter there, Pam.
Okay, so Sharpshooter starts with Sniper's Aim, which is, at first level, whenever you make a ranged attack against a target with cover, reduce the AC bonus from that cover by 2. And considering that Starfinder is based on the assumption that you have cover from some source as a factor of your AC, reducing that is almost akin to a permanent +2 accuracy bonus.
Damn.
Then you get Focus Fire. Whenever you make a full attack with a ranged weapon, you can take both attacks at a -3 penalty instead of a -4 penalty, as long as they're both against the same critter, and this will stack with Soldier's Onslaught. So if you want to make multiple attacks, this helps make the penalty not quite so painful. Then you get Intense Focus. When you make a ranged attack against a target with cover or concealment, you can spend a resolve point to negate the AC bonus and reduce its concealment by 1 category. Stacked with that first one, this is basically a straight up armor to hit upgrade.
And you're going to hit your soldier.
Mm-hmm. Focus Damage. Whenever you focus fire each target against it, each attack against the first target deals 2d6 additional damage. Additional creatures you attack after killing or knocking out the first one does not take the extra damage. So, mostly in the way that combats are arranged in adventures that Paizo likes to write, this is just a pure damage increase.
Yep.
Finally, you have Prepared Shot. As a standard action, you can study the target before you attack. The target must be within your line of sight and flat-footed. On the first attack you make against the target on your next turn, you gain +2 attack bonus. Also, if your attack hits, the target is staggered for 1 round. If you score a critical hit, it is instead stunned. That's really brutal. And you can use it with Onslaught.
It's worth noting that Sharpshoot is the only style with a flat major damage increase. Like all the other ones that have damage bonuses tend to be on tactics that aren't super strong. Like the only other one we've talked about is Armored Storms, adding basically getting melee striker, yeah. But you're getting melee striker with the battle glove, which is like marginally better than an unarmed striking. Like, at least improved unarmed striking. It's way better than regular unarmed striking. But, like, this is a flat damage bonus for what is arguably the best weapon style in the game, I would say. Would you guys agree with me? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it is strong and it is nasty. Like, oof, that extra damage.
It is definitely the one that you would get the most use of out of day-to-day. And it is also important to, I think, note that it doesn't say anything about sniper rifles.
Yeah, I mean, this would work with sniper rifles if you wanted to be a sniper rifle dude, but this works just as well with a cannon you need to grip with both hands and a chest.
So, I will point that focus fire and therefore focus damage don't work with sniper rifles, because sniper rifles have the unwieldy ability, which means attacking with them is a full action, and focus fire only works when you full attack, which you can't do with a sniper rifle.
Oh, that's a good catch.
Yeah, I mean, is some language voodoo I would not have caught, Alex.
Yeah, language voodoo is my specialty.
My only real gripe with Sharpshooter is I think its ultimate ability is just the fighter capstone ability anyway.
Oh. Yeah, it's a weaker version of the capstone. I would agree with that. You get it 3 levels earlier.
Yeah, and I mean, stunning something's cool, but I mean, it's already built into the class.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is very, very long duration stun.
I will say though that getting a free attack +2 attack bonus against your target with that 17th level ability is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to hit unless something's gone terribly, terribly wrong.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like you take round one to studied with prepared shot, right? Mm-hmm. And then round 2 you take the full attack, and because you're full attacking, sniper's aim kicks in, cover doesn't apply, basically doesn't apply, reduced by 2. You get to make your attacks with a -3 instead of a -4, so that it's basically a +1 to hit per attack from focus fire. Then an additional +2 from prepared shot, so both attacks are going to be at only -1 essentially. And if those attacks hit, focus damage gives you an extra 2d6 per shot, and then you get the horrible condition on top of it. Like, they stack in a way that the style is nasty. Like, you will hurt people.
Yeah.
You will hurt them, and they will cry, and you won't care because the bullets will make the crying stop.
And you can use it on a weapon you have gear boosted, and you can have your secondary style be Arcane Assailant and get just free enhancements.
If you take the laser accuracy and you combine that with focus fire, then you're basically not taking a penalty for full attacking. Like, it is nasty. You are the Fallout soldier guy that I love, who's got the laser from a billion feet away, critting people and turning them into sand.
The cowardly lone wanderer who hides behind vending machines shooting at super mutants.
Cowardly is alive.
True.
I mean, we all know that stealth sniper is god mode for Bethesda games.
Yep.
Get yourself a hammer and get in there.
You know, why use a hammer? Use your fists.
Well, I mean, you want to finish the game.
Listen, that's why you go Khajiit. Khajiit has claws. Damage is mildly better.
No, Khajiit has wares.
All right, so I feel like the last thing we could gloss over, like, I don't want to go super in-depth on combat feats, but since bonus feats are such a major part of the class, it's probably worth talking about some of them. Like, I know that I have a couple that I want to talk about for, like, tricks that I like with soldiers involving the ridiculous number of feats. What about you guys?
I'm pretty standard and boring when it comes to building soldiers. I just don't want them to fail will saves, and I want them to be fast. So I would take stuff like fleet, resistances so they're still alive, and whatever the version of Iron Will is here, which is improved will or something.
Improved Iron Will? Or the Iron Will is still in the game?
Oh, it's still called that. I thought it got called something different. But yeah, those type of feats, because I don't like failing will saves.
Do you know what one I'm a big fan of, Param?
Ooh, which one?
This is probably my favorite soldier/Solarian feat if you're a melee character. It's coordinated shot. Because coordinated shot is if you're in melee and you're threatening somebody, all of your allies get a +1 bonus to hit that person. I just like to imagine that you're like pushing the guy in front of all of their shots and stuff. And like I had previously mentioned, attack bonuses are really rare in Starfinder. So you're a soldier going into melee, and by doing that, you're giving all of your allies +1. Like, and I'm pretty sure if I remember the bonus type correctly, it stacks with like an envoy. So you could be like, hey, guess what? Envoy and I are going to go, and we're going to give you all these massive bonuses to hit everybody. Ha! Deadly aim. Do it. You can do it. You'll hit now. Go for it, guys.
Get them.
And that works into one of my favorite soldier types to build, because we've talked a lot about the shooty soldiers, but I really like the damage potential on melee soldiers. Get yourself a gigantic advanced melee weapon that does something like 14 some d6 at high level, and then you can just take step up, stand still, cleave, coordinated shot, and then of course you need to get the heaviest, biggest, thickest armor you can, so you might want to think about guards type or the armored type for your combat style, and then just basically be the complete annoyance of everything the GM puts on the table, because it will never be able to shoot, and it will never be able to cast spells, and it will never be able to get away from you, and it's going to hate you forever.
Yeah, you just get a jetpack. They're cheap in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I am a big fan of taking... at least I think it's cool. You guys are welcome to tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I really thought that taking the oh gosh, what's the name of that feat? I'm trying to look it up while I'm talking. It's the one where you ignore like 20 feet of terrain, difficult terrain when you're moving.
Nimble moves.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like nimble moves in Pathfinder, but they made it amazing.
They made it like cool.
Yeah, you ignore like 20 feet of difficult terrain because I mean, like, yeah, at high levels you might not be jetpacking, but like you like that jetpack costs charges. You're not going to want to jetpack all the time. You're going to be on the ground occasionally, and when you're in that morass in the middle of that horrible planet that Yoda is on, like you're going to want nimble moves so the monster doesn't eat you. It's great. I love that one.
We officially have to say it's Dagobah, or else we're going to get a pile of hate mail.
I thought it was Naboo.
No.
Isn't Naboo the one that he was born on?
No. You all are just... James, you're epic level troll.
I'm so confused.
No, that's the best part. That's the best part.
Like, I was a Star Wars fan when I was young, and then Phantom Menace ruined it for me, and I stopped. And then so my formative years were without Star Wars. Like I was 10 when Phantom Menace came out. I saw it with my grandfather, who was really into Star Wars. And I remember looking over, and like, there's my brother. He's like 6, and he's like sitting there, like, no idea what's going on. And James has seen what my brother looks like when he's clueless. It's the same when he was 6. And then I turn from my brother, who's like sitting between us. I look up at my grandfather, the man who introduced me to Star Wars, gave me my box set of VHS tapes, passed out, sound asleep. And I looked up at the screen, and like it was the part where like they get out of the submarine, and like there's the race of Jar Jar Binkses, and I was like, this must be what a bad movie is like. that's the first time I can remember saying this must be a bad movie. Like, and so I completely fell out of Star Wars after that. So I'm sorry. You can blame the prequels, everybody. Yeah.
As far as feats go, I like playing characters that are always around and dependable. So giving them enhanced mobility, movement speed, not failing saves, just always being in there. And there's a fair amount of options that stuff like other like Pathfinders doesn't give you as just a takeable feat.
Yeah. So do you know which feat I think is kind of I hate to use the word trap, but it's kind of a trap.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
For a soldier, bodyguard. Spending your reaction to give an adjacent ally a +2 bonus. I feel like unless you're a sharpshooter soldier, you're probably never going to be around anybody else. Like, James and I were getting ready to do our Dead Sun group, and like everybody else except for me is ranged. I am the only melee. I'm like, I'm never going to be near you guys to give you this bonus.
I mean, you'll have a Solarian get in there sometimes.
Yeah, but she's got a gun. Like, it's kind of the thing I don't understand about the armored Solarian. Like, they get all this heavy armor, but then they don't get better at melee weapons, so they're not going to go into melee and get hit. Like, it just seems weird to me. But we could talk more about that when we get to the Solarian.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like blind fight. I just love that feat. That's great.
Dude, blind fight is awesome. And you know what also is great? Spring attack and shot on the run, only needing 1 feat as their prerequisite.
Oh, God. Oh, please. Oh, Lord. Just dodge and mobility. We're the worst to get into those.
Because AC bonuses are so rare, mobility, and like everybody's AC is like relatively high, mobility is so good in Starfinder. Like, it went from being like a meh to a, oh, gosh.
It's good to be able to run away.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if we've talked about this, but like DR magic kinda isn't a joke in Starfinder. It's a lot harder to overcome DR magic because you either need to have a weapon with the hybrid weapon fusion, or you need to have Mystic Strike or like the Eldritch Knight rune. Like, there really aren't many ways to have a magical weapon to overcome that kind of DR. That was kind of refreshing to see. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
It is, and it's like one of the few things that justifies the existence of the Technomancer.
Hey, that's mean.
We haven't gotten to that class yet.
No, we haven't.
We can't make fun of it.
Okay, but I do want to call out a feat that I kind of joked about earlier, but if you're going to build a melee focused soldier, or any class really, but soldier especially, is extra resolve. You're going to be taking a lot of damage when you're in melee. That's part of the side effects of Starfinder is by being in melee, you're denying your opponents the ability to do ranged attacks. Ranged attacks are the most common attacks in Starfinder. That's what you're going to be up against most. Plus, you're dealing a lot of damage, and you're in the way. You're basically putting a giant red target that says, please shoot me before I kill you, on you. So you're going to be taking most of the hits as a melee-focused soldier, compared to other characters that are back behind cover, difficult to hit far away, and not dealing 14d6 damage to my face. So having extra resolve as one of your feat picks really helps, just by being able to help regenerate that much extra hit points.
Well, that's also why when you're a melee soldier, you want step up. Because when they guarded step to try to shoot you, you follow them. You follow them. Never surrender, soldier.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Step up and stand still in combination.
Yeah, I actually don't like stand still. And the reason I don't like stand still is because it's a combat maneuver. And it's not a combat maneuver you can take improved maneuver with. Meaning you have to make an attack roll against a DC equal to your enemy's KIC plus 8, which is really hard.
But you're one of the few classes that are probably going to be able to hit it.
I don't know about that. Mathematically, I think that it's unlikely. Like, even if you're making a melee attack and you have a good strength, I don't think you're a shoo-in to get it. I think even with a really high strength, you might get it like 40% of the time.
I think it's meant to work against nerds. I mean, it's not going to work against a Shobohod that breaks into your bar or anything, but, like, if Alex the Technomancer comes, I mean, you could probably stand still.
No, don't insult me. At least make me a mechanic.
Wait, I'm very confused as to the pecking order of things now. It's not a combat feat, but enhanced resistance is probably good if you're in melee as well, because you can get DR and energy resistance, and that's pretty cool. You should have some feats open for that.
Also, weapon focus. Weapon focus, do it.
Yeah.
Even better, take versatile focus, because it's 2 feats to put the +1 on every weapon. Unlike Pathfinder, which is +1 per weapon per feat. It's so good. I'm so happy. It's like it's so good. The feat spread and how you can pick things, and just the streamlinedness of the feat options, like all those improved maneuver feats literally just being improved maneuver. So good. Oh,
so this is something, and they're devs. They learn from all of playing the game and listening to complaints. But when I look at other games and I just see their list of abilities, which is usually that trade-off for feats, and I just see this does this does this, not this and this plus this equals circling mongoose, and this has a prerequisite of that, and it's just so refreshing just to open up and go, I know what these are. I learned this.
I also feel like as a soldier, you could probably get away with grabbing skill synergy and skill focus. Like, the soldier doesn't have any skill bonuses unlike every other class in Starfinder. So, like, if you wanted to throw some feats at it, you could do worse.
Yeah, but you still get 4 skill points per level, which is like double that of last game.
Literally double that. Literally double that.
At this point in time, of course you're going to take those feats, because you're going to have all the feats.
Yeah.
You're gonna have them all. And you can take those feats multiple times. You can do it.
You probably will.
You should probably take it for, like, perception, because that's a pretty big one. Getting ambushed is not fun.
Oh. Also, getting class skills is a lot harder in Starfinder than Pathfinder, because while themes are super cool and awesome, you only get that one ability, and I don't think any of the themes gives perception except maybe for themeless.
Either themeless, because that has an open one, and maybe bounty hunter or outlaw. I forget.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
It's not like Pathfinder, where, like, your base assumption is 1 or 2 traits, and traits are immediately used for getting class skills that your Oracle needs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of miss that. But
yeah,
the themes are really cool. I just hope that we keep getting more. I heard that the next book they're doing, the Packworld books, I think that they're on the record of saying it's got like 14 themes in it. Like there's one for every major planet and or like living thing in the solar system. So I'm really excited to see what 14 themes are in that and what cool things they do.
I wonder if they're going to be like race or region locked.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like the Suns is probably going to be Serenite locked.
It's probably going to be solar locked, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, locked to people who worship Sarenrae. Yeah. I mean, to that end, you could totally do Nyarlathotep on Octurne. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I especially with races that have planets that have playable races like Versites. Now that we have their thing and Rhyphorians, which I don't know why Versites got their planet name and everybody else got a different name, but you know, it makes sense.
They're just extremely vain.
No, they're very they're unimaginative.
They're pragmatic.
Now, before we go away from the soldier, or before we wrap this up, I do want to talk about how well the soldier fills the roles on Starship, because that is potentially a huge part of every Starfinder game if you're going to be doing Starship combat. And I think the soldier really comes in good. You have a base attack bonus, which means you can gun without a skill point investment if you want to be a gunner. You can take piloting as a class skill, and so is engineering. So you can be an engineer, you can be the pilot without too much of an investment, and it's not too
take
much.
The sky jockey feat.
Mm-hmm. And it's not too much of an investment to take their correct skill feats, because you're going to have 1 billion of them to fill any of the other roles.
So it's worth noting that as you get higher level, it becomes harder and harder for the soldier to fill roles as well as any other class in the game, because every other class, like we had mentioned, gets a scaling insight bonus to most other skills. Like operative gets it to all of them. Mechanic is probably going to be your engineer or your science officer, because they get it to computers and engineering. The soldier doesn't have a scaling class bonus to any of them. So while they have engineering and intimidate as class skills, they're probably not going to want to be the captain because they don't have diplomacy. And they're probably, even if they go into being the engineer, they don't have the extra plus. Like by the time you reach 10th or 11th level, you're looking at +2 or +3, which is substantial. You could blow skill focus and meet that, but then your skill focus is never going to go beyond that. So like at high levels, the soldier, I think, is probably going to have trouble filling those roles as the DCs continue to scale. I'd have to look at the numbers. I remember reading somewhere that the Starship combat numbers were kind of wonky for the skill check DCs.
And Owen is on record as saying that they will be revised.
Yeah, but regardless of what they do, I don't know whether they're going to be balanced around like the operative mechanic or whether they're going to be balanced around the soldier. Because if they're balanced around the soldier, then the soldier will be good at engineering, being the engineer and being the yelly Starship guy. But if they're balanced around the operative, I feel like the soldier isn't going to be good much except at gunnery past like 14th level or so. So keep that in mind. Check the DCs, figure out what you're going to have and whether or not you are the optimal person for a given job. For the soldier, I would imagine that unless you're going gunnery, you have it roughest in regards to where you're going to be. It's kind of disappointing because it means that you can't have a starship of all soldiers and expect them to be really good at fighting a starship combat. That kind of feels like an oversight to me. But hopefully in time we'll improve.
Yeah, just get what are you talking about? The ship? You just put a cube and then just put turrets on it.
You better hope that cube never glitches, James. We both lived it last episode. We know what the glitches do.
That's why you get like one nerd for your gunship. That's all you need.
You get one nerd and you make him take one level of soldier so that he can be part of the army. And
right.
Then all right, nerd, you're a mechanic now. You level up.
And so was born the Corps of Engineers.
I mean, I think if you want to feel real cool during like Starship time, if you're a soldier, invest in a craft feat, make weapons, make armor. You probably can get your GM to reduce the cost or benefits of doing things, because as of right now it's unimpressive. But I think any reasonable GM would be willing to cut you deals on making items or weapons from scavenged items and weapons.
Wait, there are crafting feats? I thought it was just the engineering skill.
No. Craft, because it takes time to use the drift. A lot of time.
You said crafting feats. I don't think there are craft feats.
No, there's no craft feats. Sorry, that might have been a miswording.
Every so often, Pathfinder has a time jump and invades our podcast.
Right. What I mean is just do the crafting.
But it makes sense because the gap is imperfect and didn't erase everything at exactly the same points in history. So there are some places where pieces of Pathfinder were not destroyed by the gap, and that's what gets into our heads.
Sorry, profession. Profession is the name of the skill. Sorry. Jesus.
No, you use
it
right. To make weapons.
That's right. Sorry. So the craft focus would be what is that? Skill focus, engineering. Boom. There you go. That's your craft feat.
After level 10, the mechanic and operative are both better, but you kind of expect that.
I'm sorry, they're going to be on the guns doing things, or on the rest of the ship.
So your soldier is sitting down crafting weapons in the middle of Starship combat.
Yeah, if you guys can't survive without your soldier.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like something you would do to us on a character. You'd be like, oh, I can't do anything. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna fiddle with my gun and hope I don't die when that enemy ship blows the airlocks out on you guys.
No, he's gonna be wearing a spacesuit and board it and finish the job with the weapon just finished. He's a soldier.
That's fair. Also ridiculous, but... So, any closing thoughts on the soldier before we end, guys?
I think the soldier is the single class that shows off the most improvements that Starfinder has had.
Yeah, I feel like the compared to all the other classes, the soldier shows an understanding of where the fighter archetypical character can be improved, and man, it delivers. Like, the soldier really feels like the crux of 10 years of Pathfinder design. Like, there are things in there that we've seen in the fighter, we've seen in other classes. There are improvements that are great and are helpful. I think that it is probably the most solid class out of the 7 of them in terms of being at just the right level of power. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, if you're, it depends on your game a bit. But yeah, I think Sands is a good base, whereas in Pathfinder, your fighter's not really a good base for how tough something is.
I also think that compared to all the other classes, the second to the mechanic, but or first to only the mechanic is a close second, but the soldier as a class is better than pretty much all the other classes at having abilities that make it feel substantially different. Like, I think the exocortex changes the exocortex drone choice changes the mechanic, making it the second highest choice. And I would put Mystic at third with the connections. But the soldier plays extremely differently with very few alterations depending on your fighting style. And I think that is really cool that you can have these soldiers with vastly different abilities, and they're still they fit the same theme. We'll be talking about other classes as we do more class features that do not have that luxury and where the options don't really feel like they change the overall, like, not necessarily the gameplay, but the silhouette of the class. Yeah. I think your fighting style changes how the soldier looks a lot more than other ones.
Right. Like, I think when you sit down and see other classes, like if you sit down at a Starfinder Society table and somebody goes, I'm a blank, your soldier has one of the biggest chances of just being different than any given soldier.
Yeah. Like, a good example is of, like, great choices but not different is like the Envoy, because the Envoy can have dramatically different playing styles based on what in Envoy improvisations you take, but those improvisations don't change what the class looks like. It's, I'm a guy who uses charisma skills to buff the party.
I'm a bard without magic.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't change based on what you pick, but the soldier changes dramatically. I think the soldier that's why the soldier is my favorite. Also because he's super cool.
He doesn't afraid of anything.
She's super cool, since the iconic is a girl. But also they use second-person pronouns. You're super cool.
I think that's a solid move, smart, solid move. Yeah, I think the soldier's a lot of fun. Like, I played a couple of them in the play test, and I always felt like I was able to contribute, especially with this jump more to range combat being the standard. Whereas before, whenever I played a pure martial, it was always like, well, the guy's up in the air. Somebody lift me, please.
Yeah. I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to throw rocks at him.
Come down.
By the way, they're
You-
yeah. What do you think, Param?
I already said I think it's amazing.
Mhm.
I think that
Yeah.
this is they had to make the soldier nail it, because in most sci-fi fantasy fiction, a good majority of the characters are going to either be operatives or soldiers.
No.
Yeah, that is a great compartmentalization because, like, in Pathfinder, there's so many different variations of I'm a fight man.
Yeah.
Like, you have your slayer, your swashbuckler, your gunslinger, your actual fighter. You have a lot of just fighter bands, and you really could divert them into two different camps.
I think we'll see more fighter mans in Starfinder as more books and more classes are released, but it's going to be a really hard design space because the soldier fills it really well.
And the operative fills that other half. Like I was talking to a group of people about what Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid would be.
Yeah.
We decided on like an operative because he's better at skills, but that's really the distinction is if you're fighting and you have other talents, you're probably an operative. If you're a fighter man and you might have one other talent, but you're a good fighter man, you're a soldier.
Yeah, indeed.
I would be happy with Starfinder if they didn't have a big class glut happen. I mean, we might not need big giant 10 classes in the books for Starfinder if they just use these as their base skeleton frames and then start throwing meat on the bones, so to speak.
I think there are still some classes out there that we could use.
Yes.
I really, really want a Starfinder monk. Like I was completely sold on the idea after Rogue One, and Starfinder itself does not make that character very well. Especially, it does not make unarmored characters, period, very well. The game is so heavily focused on spending money on gear that type of character is going to be tough, and I really hope that it gets made because I think there's a huge fantasy there, but I guess time will tell. But in terms of things I'm the guy who wrote those, or half wrote the Starfarer's Companion. So, like, it's sort of tough for me to say, oh man, the classes that need to be in the system, there aren't many. Yeah, well, that's because you wrote 6 of them, you jerk. But, I feel like the space for fight dude is really small in the soldier, and a lot of the fight dudes in Pathfinder don't translate very well. There are some exceptions, but like, what are you gonna do with Gunslinger? Like, oh man, the Gunslinger's entire niche is like firearms have tons of restrictions. Let's remove all of them.
Well,
It doesn't work.
like Barbarian could just be a soldier fighting style that makes you rage. Ranger
Yeah.
could just be a soldier fighting style that lets you have 2 weapons and a doggy. I mean, Paladin could just be soldier fighting style in which your gun is holy. I mean, it doesn't take much to do most of the full BAB classes as just a fighting style option for soldier.
Do you know which one deserves its own class that I totally did as its own class? Ranger.
Really, Ranger? Why?
You can be space racist other ways.
Core Starfinder does not do wilderness well. It actually doesn't do wilderness much at all. So I think having a wilderness character who's all into the guerrilla fighting in the soldier, also like the bounty hunter class period, that kind of fits the design space between the soldier and the operative. That's kind of how I built it. I think there's room for that in the game. But most of the martial full of BAB characters, I don't think there's a lot of space for. The new shifter class would be a great one that there's room for in Starfinder. Although there are some changes I would like to see, but that's a different topic.
Yeah,
I think stuff like I feel stuff like Holy Warrior would be good as an archetype. Like, I know archetypes are different in how they work in this game, but I feel like just going, and you lose some of these abilities, and you gain some really holy abilities. Like,
Well, I mean, you could have an archetype that says, in order to put this on a class, the class needs to have a base attack bonus equal to their level.
Yeah.
And
worship a deity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would just be a requirement, period. Like, you need to worship a deity, and you can only attach this to a class whose base attack bonus equals their character level. It can't apply to things like mechanic or whatever. Also, I am a holy mechanic. Smite with my wrench.
Yeah, I mean, you need a mechanic paladin of Torag. Come on. I know he's not around anymore, but...
Yeah, Torag isn't around anymore. You, my friend, you need a mechanic paladin of the new dwarf god whose name I don't remember.
I only remember the god of friendship as one of the new ones because I think that's great.
No. best bug friend forever is the greatest deity.
Yeah.
Second, maybe to Triune.
Yeah, but she's not a bug that like does individuality and is cool with like everything.
Abadar has always been the best deity.
Yeah,
in
but do you
any
know what?
version of
Do
the
you know
game.
what? Do you know what Triune is cool for? Triune is essentially the cosmic climate change denier god. Because here you have, I've introduced this amazing new innovation in travel. It's super cool. It's called the Drift. Lets you get super far. You'll love it, guys. Oh yeah, there's like this environmental thing where reality starts falling apart whenever you use it, but your great grandkids will have to worry about it. That's not your problem. And also, by the way, those scientists, they're totally being paid off by the Church of Pharasma. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Guys, by the way, you could steal that idea for your homebrew game. That's fine with me.
Well, I mean, at some point, it would just turn the universe inside out, and then you would just drift back in the real space.
Drift, decay, deniers, triple Ds.
I like triple Ds, but I think we're talking about different things.
All right, everybody. Now we're coming up on time, so let's get into shout-outs. Okay, Alex, anything you want to shout out to?
PAX Unplugged is this weekend.
PAX Unplugged!
It's in our hometown, and all of my friends are running it. You should come if you're in PAX Unplugged and hang out with my friends Robin and Ben and maybe James. I don't remember if James is going to be there for very long, but you should go and play Starfinder Society and Pathfinder Society. And I'm trying to get all of my schoolwork done so I can be there too, but I can't make promises right now.
I kind of swore that I was GMing all 3 days and playing all 3 days, but I haven't got my scenarios yet, so I don't know yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's why I said maybe.
No, I should be there.
But yeah, shout out.
If you're not going to be at PAX Unplugged and you're somewhere near the Louisville, Kentucky area, which includes Cincinnati, Ohio, for even another nearby big city, you can come to Nerd Louisville, where I will be GMing a whole bunch of Starfinder this weekend as well.
Go into outer space with Param. It's the second best person to go in space with.
Who's the first?
Picard.
Yeah, totally Picard.
Boo.
All right, so I guess this wraps up our episode on the soldier. If you have any thoughts or comments that you think that we should, what class we should do next, or if you think that we're all hacks who don't know how to do our blogging and reviewing jobs, you can totally come to our site, nodirection.com, and leave comments on this article, and we'll read them. And if they're nice, we'll be super excited. And if we're mean, we might even cry a little bit. So you can have satisfaction in that. Right, guys?
You hear that? 140 characters can make Alex cry.
Well, no, it's 280 now. Thank you very much.
You can make him
don't
cry
need
twice.
that many. You don't need that many.
You only need like 40. You guys, come on. You can do it.
I can do it in 2. 1 star.
Oh.
Oh, I was going to be real mean, but I'll save that for later.
All right, guys. Until next time, go beyond with no direction.